Just Greeks and Beats, episode 9, a chat with Nico. Γεια σας παιδιά, καλώς ήρθατε. This is another episode of Just Greeks and Beats with Valandi, and it's episode 9. What a fantastic episode I have in store for you, because I have interviewed one of the most amazing, knowledgeable Greek people here in Adelaide, and it just blew me away. Like, I knew this guy knew a lot about Greek history and everything Greek, but far out, did I not? Oh, wow. Just blew me away. Like, the knowledge that I got out of this interview was beyond what I've already told you guys. And I'm really excited because we're going to look forward to many more episodes with Nico. Before we get into that, episode 9, wow, what a feature. Last episode was just super phenomenal. I got a lot of good feedback. Everyone loved the fact that I really got personal and, gave a bit of personal experience growing up. I had a really, really good feedback on that. So thank you so much for all our listeners. Again, for those that are keen on dropping a line, jump on Apple Podcasts, if that's how you listen to my podcast. Leave me a review, or jump on my Facebook.com/Gephi Live Radio. Send me a message there, or even just drop me an email, admin@Gephi.live, and give me your review or your feedback. And I'm really hoping that you're enjoying the series. Look, without any further ado, let's just get straight into it. We've talked about culture, religion, language, traditions, food, you name it, anything Greek. We've really spoken about traveling, history of the islands and some parts of the mainland. And I've got Nico here today, who is going to really, really enlighten us on a lot more things Greek. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so as mentioned earlier in the episode, we've got a very special guest here today, who's going to talk to us a little bit about everything Greek from his point of view. We've got Nick Mavrangelos, who is the co-director and the head chef of Adelaide Pavilion. Γεια σου, Nick.
Γεια σου και γεια σας σε όλους. Hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining my podcast, Just Greeks and Beats.
I'm very privileged to be here. It's wonderful. And special, as you said, is the operative word.
You are a very special person.
Oh, yeah. I've been told that before.
Now, I'm being special in a very good way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not in what you're trying to say.
No problem.
But, Nick, I've known you for quite a long time, pre-Pavilion, obviously, and through the Greek community, through family, friends as well. My cousins, who are your friends.
Yes.
And I've had many moments and privileged moments to be working with you as well, as a DJ, as an MC, and I've been to your centre quite a few times as a guest.
We can't wait for you to come and entertain us. When we know you're on the cards,
I have to say,
we get very excited.
Well, I get excited every time I come here too.
That's true.
Because not only do I find that the Gephi is always so much better here than wherever else I DJ, but the food is bloody amazing here.
Well, it's very nice of you to say.
I'll
take
absolutely
very
love
kind words.
your
and we're looking at
beef-eye fillets.
What's
that potato thing that you make? That little square?
Dauphinoise, the potato gratiné.
That's it. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
there you go.
Beautiful. Everyone can make it.
I might have to take the recipe off you.
Yeah, why not?
Look, so obviously I introduced you to Just Greeks and Beats, which is a bit of a podcast about everything Greek. And the reason why I'm very excited to have you on today is not only because of your knowledge and history in food, but you have a very big knowledge in pretty much a lot of things Greek. You were saying before, you can talk about songs, you can talk about poetry, you could talk about arts and history. You're a very, very knowledgeable person.
Well, I wouldn't say I'd have deep knowledge in anything or everything, but I've finished I finished the Greek language course up at Flinders University many years ago. I was actually the first student to step foot in the first lecture.
Oh,
Well, it
wow.
was ekana podariko, as they say.
Oh, there you go.
I was in 1989 up at Flinders.
I was just starting school then.
I learnt, you were little then.
Yeah.
Right. I was very privileged to be there. No, I'm using the word privilege because that's how I feel. It was a life-changing experience doing that course because I finished engineering, civil engineering, so that was something completely different. But my love for Hellenism led me there, and it took me to places I never thought I would go. We did in-depth cognates on particular poets and their poetry. We delved really heavily in information and levels of education that we didn't think we could reach, but the then lecturers knew what they were doing. They were aiming very high, and that brought us all up with them.
Wow.
It was like that. That's just another show. That one. That's another show.
Well, we'll definitely have to bring that in at some stage.
That needs to be told.
Absolutely. Hey, like I said, we talk a lot about history, culture, tradition, food, music. I recently discussed the many different island groups in my podcast. And I believe that you have family history on a group of islands, which I haven't actually touched up on yet, the Ionian Islands.
The Ionians, yes.
Which are also known as the Heptanissa.
The Heptanese,
Yeah.
correct. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about this island group, just in brief.
Okay, I'll tell you about my connection with it first. My dad was born on an island called Zakynthos.
Ah, beautiful.
From the village of Pigadakia.
Pigadakia.
Pigadakia, yep.
Now, Pigadi, that's...
It means wells.
yeah.
Well. So Pigadakia,
So there's many wells there.
Yes. So that's on my dad's side. My mum was born in Lefkada.
Oh,
Two
Lefkada,
islands
nice.
up, 2-3 islands up, from the center of Lefkada, from the actual capital of Lefkada. She was born there, and histories behind and the history behind those islands are entirely different from anything you would ever think of the rest of Greece.
Yeah.
Completely different.
What's one thing that Zakynthos is really well known
Right,
for?
the well known for
Yeah, well known for. So you've got Galimnos is really well known for their sponge diving.
yeah.
And for their pastries.
Zakynthos, food.
Food.
Food, nougat. They self-proclaimed the best nougat in the world. That's what they say. It's actually very good. It's exceptional. They've got nougat boutiques on the island where you'd walk in, you become educated in nougat, and you can obviously, the whole idea is that you buy some nougat from them.
And just for our non-Greek listeners, nougat in Greek is
Madolato.
madolato.
Yeah.
Yes. I always confuse madolato with madinades.
There's one's a song.
One's a song and
Or
one's a
one's
food.
a song, poetry song, and the other one, it's a dessert made of egg whites and honey.
That's right. My favourite nougat has to be just a plain with pistachio.
They've got that.
Yes, that's number one.
They've got that, and there's
I've
different
tried
types.
many.
As I've been educated, different soft, hard, depending on what you like. The island group, the Heptanese, meaning the 7 islands, the Heptanissa. There are more than 7, obviously, islands, but
which we learned from the Dodecanissa. There's 220 islands,
exactly.
But it's known as the 12 main islands.
12 main islands. So there's people would know Corfu, Kerkyra. Anyone who would ever read Lawrence Durrell and his story of growing up, the English family and the author that wrote a book about growing up in Corfu. We work our way down to Paxi, 2 islands, Paxus. Work down to Lefkada, they're renowned for poetry and music as well. All of these islands.
Yep.
These islands, and there's a reason for this. Poetry and music. Ithaki, what is known to be Ithaki today may not have been Ithaki or Ithaca of yesteryear with Homer. Homer's Odysseus, well, his homeland was Ithaki.
We've spoken a lot about Homer thus far, but we haven't really touched on Ithaca and the
his
history
kingdom
of Ithaca.
island
Yeah.
is
The
in the
king of
Ionians.
Ithaca. Yeah.
The Ithaca, and more so today, and recent archaeologists over the last 150 years have indicated that the island below the larger island, Kefalonia, Cephalonia, more than likely would have been the island of Odysseus rather than the modern day island, a small island that is called Ithaki. But nevertheless, that's the island group. It keeps on going. There's Lefkada, Ithaki, Kefalonia. Somewhere in there, all of these places, all of these islands were the islands of Odysseus.
Right.
Moving down, we've got Zakynthos. And absolutely gorgeous. The Venetians had these islands for 400 years. The Venetians gave it a nickname called Il Fior de Levante, the flower of the Levant. Zakynthos being so beautiful, and it is stunning. All the islands are stunning. And then right underneath the Peloponnese, there's an island called Kythera. Kytheron. So people that have heard of the Kytherian clock.
Yep.
From there. So Kythera today is not really part of the Heptanese. Politically, it's owned and by Attica, Athens and Piraeus.
Yep.
But linguistically, culturally, and in any other aspect, it is and has been historically one of the seven islands. So as a synopsis, you're looking at these islands, with the exception of Lefkada, which had Turks on there for about 150 years. No Turkish influence on these islands. They never took over the Heptanissa except for Lefkada, and there's a geographical reason for that, because it's very, very close to the mainland. It's difficult to defend.
Yeah.
The Venetians loved their Ionian islands. They adored them, and the islands gave them lots and lots of food.
And just on a geographical, with the people that are listening, the Ionian Islands, or the Heptanissa, are on the other side of Greece.
Western side.
Yeah, on the western side.
Facing
to
Italy.
where most of the other group of islands are. So these are the islands that are much closer to Italy.
Yes.
Hence why there is a very big Italian influence on these islands.
A very, very big influence, very easy to see, very easy to acknowledge. And it's just like any other boundaries of countries. On the edges of any country, you see the influence of the next country facing it or bordering it. It's always that way.
Yeah.
And the Heptanissa definitely have an Italianate feel, most definitely. The Venetians, after the Venetians, I think 1797, guess who rocks up? Napoleon Bonaparte.
I don't know.
Oh no, he goes into the he goes into Venice, gives them a slap in the face, right? And then he wants to come down towards Egypt. So he comes down and sees that Venice has all these beautiful islands, and he was like mesmerized by them. He sent about 2,000 troops or something like that. Took over the islands, and this is where a lot of the culinary influences came. Let's take it a step back. The Venetians brought pasta. So think a very, very, very well loved dish that we eat, pasticcio. Well, that came through the Heptanissa, through the Venetians.
Oh, there you go.
Changed form.
History of pasticcio.
Yep, there's a Venezianico pasticcio, which is different. It's like a modern day. The Italians call it a tombola. It's another version. We've since taken the pasticcio of what the Venetian pasticcio and have improved it 50-fold and threw in some French additives like the bechamel, thanks to Greece, one of Greece's most famous chefs of the 20th century,
I'm glad you said bechamel and not frog legs.
No, but no, it wasn't frog. No, none of that. There are too many bones.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to have that in pastizzo, really, would you?
Well, you could debone it.
Yeah, it's too much. It's horrible. Anyway, this chef called Nikolaos Tselemides.
Right.
A guy called Nikolaos Tselemides, classically trained French kitchen, introduced the bechamel to the everyday, then, in inverted commas, housewife. Taught them how to make it in his epic cookbook called Tselemides, right, which is now a standard name for any cookbook. You find any cookbook, you call it a Tselemede after him. So, where was I? Yeah, so the French came in, and guess what they brought?
Not frog legs.
They brought, no, not frog legs, and not snails. Because snails were already eaten in
Colour
Crete
snails,
and everywhere and on the islands.
That's old school Greek,
That's old
mate.
school. That's 5,000 years ago. The galopula.
The turkey.
The turkey. In Greek, turkey is not called turkey. It's called, which is an American bird, essentially. It's indigenous and autochthonous to the American continent. The turkey.
Hence Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Thanksgiving. Thank you. Right. So, galopula. And that's why it's called Galo, from the word Gaul, Gauls, the ancient name for the French, and poulet, bird. So it's the French bird. We call the turkey the French bird because the French brought it to the Heptanese in around 1797, and they haven't been safe since. We've been eating that bird forever and a day, and they're still very, very big on those islands.
Now, can
Massive.
I say, I think turkey has to be my most favourite poultry
Is
food
that
item.
right?
It is. I love it.
It's a wonderful,
Love it.
wonderful,
and especially if it's
meal.
cooked really well,
Oh, yeah.
and it doesn't, they don't dry it out.
Yes.
It's amazing. But I had actually never ever thought of the fact that a galopula is French.
up to
Gallo.
Gallus.
Wow, there you go.
Well,
I
it's not
actually
French.
learned something.
They brought them in. They presented it to, and they presented a lot of other things like potatoes, which were very, very. They looked at the potato with one eye. The
French
Greeks back
love
then,
French love
but
potatoes.
the potatoes, they looked at them with one eye. They're thinking that it was poisonous, or they didn't trust the potato, but loved the turkey. Didn't trust the potato. There's another famous story about the potato. Do you want me to tell it to you?
Go for it.
We're going
Go
for
for it.
tangents here.
I don't care. Let's do it.
In the birth of the modern Greek state in around 1836 thereabouts. Please don't hold me with dates at this point in time. I'm not sure. It's around about the 1930s.
After the revolution against the Turks.
Of course.
Yep.
The first prime minister was called a gentleman called Ioannis Kapodistrias. Ioannis Kapodistrias, who was from Kerkyra, from Corfu. And he tried very hard. See, the people were very poor. They were starving, let's face it, new country, big problems. And so he tried very hard to offer them cereals and vegetables in order for them to feed themselves, to cultivate these new vegetables that they didn't have. They had the tomato because the Venetians brought it over from Marco Polo when he came back. Marco Polo, right? And they've already had the tomato, but this potato, which is very, it's in name the pomme de terre in French, the apple of the earth, which is also is also there's the Greek version Geomilo is the apple of the earth said in Greek, which is encompasses all the family of the potato, the sweet potato, the kumara, the potato, Geomila.
So Yeo is the year,
Yes, the earth,
and Milo is the apple.
exactly.
Yep.
But the Greeks wouldn't have a bar of it. They just were so worried that it was poisonous, and they wouldn't want to eat that.
But would you blame Greeks of back then without any knowledge of what this thing was?
I don't blame
you. You look at it and you bite into it. It's all starchy when it's raw, and it's like, oh, what exactly have I just bitten into?
I agree with you. I would have the same. Emotion about it.
Yeah.
And thoughts. But this is how clever Kapodistrias. He knew a little bit about the human psyche. He played a bit of a trick. What he did in the new formed capital, which was not Athens back then, which is another city called Nafplio, beautiful city. You've got to go visit Nafplio.
Yeah.
He had a big shed with a lot of potatoes in there, like filled it with potatoes, and he ordered his guards to protect the shed. So it was very heavily guarded. But he also made sure that everybody, the peasants and the population, knew that inside this shed that there were potatoes and they were heavily guarded. So what do you think the Greeks did? They thought, well,
revolutionized and attacked?
They're thinking, hang on, for Kapodistrias to guard this so heavily, there's got to be some merit in this thing.
Right.
Kapodistrias, however, told his guards to turn a blind eye when the peasants came at night to steal the potatoes. So that's exactly what happened. They came, stole the potatoes, planted them. The guards, like so-called turn a blind eye, they just turned around and let them come in and steal the potatoes. And that's how the potatoes became a staple in the Greek diet, because the people thought, if it's that good that our prime minister is guarding this with 20, 30, 40 guards, hang on, we want a piece of this. Whereas yesterday, they were scared of it. They thought that they were going to get poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he played a trick on them.
There you go.
And it worked.
See, well, I've always said the Greeks are smart people.
See, I don't know about that. They are. They played into the trap.
So two of very loved Greek dishes that use potato. I love moussaka with layers of patata in there, and I also love patata salata, which is simply boiled potatoes. With a little bit of oil, a little bit of vinegar, and some fresh parsley.
Yes.
Right, that's my favourite.
That
with a barbecue.
Greek version of
Number
potato
one.
salad.
No mayonnaise and cremes and
I love it.
sacamares.
And then you dress your potatoes when they're hot.
Yeah.
You've boiled them.
So the oil can really soak in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All the flavours, salt, pepper. What a great accompaniment if you don't want too much mayo.
Yeah, no,
Beautiful.
love it.
And
I also love
moussaka. It's a variation on the moussaka, the potatoes on the bottom.
My mum does it with potatoes. A lot
Most
of
people
moussaka do
today-
not have potatoes in there.
The original version was without it, but if you read Telemede, we go back to him as well, because we have to go back to him a lot of times, because he revolutionized the way Greeks cooked. Before the bechamel, what did they have? They did a egg, breadcrumb, and yogurt mix. Yogurt was not necessarily part of the mix, only if you wanted it. But they did an egg and breadcrumb mix and threw it on top. So when you baked it, you got that little layer of a finish.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Wow.
Essentially, before the bechamel was introduced in the 1950s. So people ask me, what did they do before? Well, they did that. And sometimes, if they were feeling very gourmet, they would put some yogurt in there too.
You know, I've just come up with a crazy idea.
You always do.
It
it always
now
gets
that
me
we're
into
talking
trouble. It
about
always gets me
patates.
into trouble.
No hell.
Every time someone comes up with a crazy idea.
This one might not get you into trouble. This
Okay.
might actually make you a little bit more famous.
Right.
I'm thinking you can do like an Australian version of the pasticcio, right?
Yeah.
Instead of bechamel sauce, you put mashed potato. So it's like a shepherd's pasticcio.
I'm sure we'll like it. We'll eat anything. I'm sure if it's made really well, we'd love it. Why not? If it's only a little bit, a small layer, that'd be wonderful.
I mean, you watch MasterChef these days,
Yeah.
and they bastardize a Greek dish. It's like they have to put the real modern touch onto it and all that.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
guess
done by
it's-
people that don't even have any connection to Greeks at all.
Well, it doesn't matter, but I guess they have to do something different.
Well, yeah,
It is-
okay, they have
then
to
you-
do.
then
but-
we'll, if they don't, we'll turn around and we'll go, oh yeah, we've seen that one before. Next.
yeah.
I guess they have to do something, but it's got to have meaning behind it. I understand what you're saying.
I mean, what was one crazy thing that I recently saw? I think it was like kataifi, no, not kataifi, baklava with lamb souvlakia or something.
Okay, a
I'm like-
savoury baklava.
Yeah, but how does that even happen?
Well,
I mean, I get the noodle base of
modern Greek,
the
modern
nut base might, but when you add the honey and the syrup and the filo pastry,
modern Greek. I doubt very much they'd put syrup.
oh yeah, well, I don't know.
It'd be a loose variation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Like a lot of those
years
chefs
and
are.
years and years ago, in 2008, I went to the press club and ate for the first time at the press club at George Kalambaris's.
Oh, yeah,
Back in 2008. Oh boy, was it so memorable! It was what a wonderful meal. It was just myself, my wife. My wife was pregnant at the time with our firstborn. Well, he hasn't been born yet, but it was, we just went out. We just went for a quick holiday before the baby was born.
The baby moon.
Yeah, the baby. Yep.
Yep.
And the baby moon, correct. And it was wonderful. I remember him using a melomakaruno crust on a lamb. So
Oh, wow.
melomakaruno being a very ancient biscuit that we still make, and I'll get back to that in a minute.
My mum makes wild
Well,
melon.
macarona. Please invite me over.
Oh, I'll bring you
Please.
some.
Yeah.
I'll bring you some.
Yeah. It's one of my favourites. Top 10. Top 10.
Well, wait till you try this one.
Right? It doesn't matter what it is. Top 10. So he used no sugar. He used the idea and the crumb to put crunch and texture on top of this lamb dish, which was absolutely wonderful. And this is what these people do. They're so talented, and they.
But going back to my comment,
but it had meaning.
yeah, going back to my comment, he is of a Greek heritage. He understands the mixtures of both. There's meaning behind the dish. He made it work. Whereas, when you look at someone that has no idea about Greek food and then puts one thing with another,
Yeah.
where is the connection? Where's the meaning? You
I
know?
understand. I understand what you're saying. They need to have some sort of understanding
Yeah.
of a cuisine.
Could you try again?
Sorry, my Siri just decided to jump into the convo.
Siri. Serious. It's all they need to do. They don't necessarily need to have a Hellenic background, but they definitely need to know about
Yeah, absolutely.
Greek cooking. Or what I want to say is this: not only Greek food. I think we've moved on from that for many cultures. It's food that Greeks eat.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. That's what I want to say. It's just food that Greeks eat. Some food that we eat we don't even know has an ancient, very ancient, like cheesecake. Cheesecake. They used to a form of cheesecake used to be given to the spectators at the ancient Olympic Games as a snack.
Oh, wow.
Cream, cheese, probably soft cheese on some sort of cracker with honey. Cheesecake. We don't consider cheesecake as being Greek. We consider
Wow.
more so cheesecake as being American now.
Yeah.
New York cheesecake and all that. And the cheesecake has come, full circle, and people and culinary influences have changed it along the way, where you'd make a custard out of essentially that's what you do. You put eggs through your cheese and make a custard or sour cream, and you bake it. And of course, throughout 2,000-3,000 years, technology and thoughts and people's empirical cooking in an empirical and not a very scientific way, have changed it. But essentially, you don't call a cheesecake Greek, but it may as well be. But do we like cheesecake as Greeks? You go to Greece, every place is a cheesecake.
Yeah.
Every place, cheesecake, everywhere.
Well,
and they
love it.
And they call it cheesecake.
So I'll tell you a very quick, interesting fact about cheesecake.
Yep.
Other than the fact that our mutual friend George at Galimnos Pastries has put on his line the baklava cheesecake.
Yeah, I love Yorgos cheesecake.
Michael Barrow recently.
Yes.
He loves his desserts. He thought, you know what, I'm going to experiment a bit. And just after Pascha, he had a whole tray of leftover melo macarona.
Oh, my
your
God.
favorite.
Oh, no.
So
Don't
he
tell
thought,
me.
you know what, I'm going to make a melo macarono cheesecake because he loves his cheesecakes. So he actually made the base.
Of course, it's a biscuit.
Out of melo macarono.
It's a biscuit.
And I'm telling you, it was the best cheesecake that I have tried.
High five.
Melo macaroni cheesecake. It's a match made in heaven.
Absolutely. Well, wouldn't it be? It's a biscuit. We use biscuits for the base. Well, not always, but mostly we love a biscuit base. Sometimes we do our own pastry, but that's another story. That's a stroke of genius.
Oh.
But there it is. It makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like you said.
Absolutely.
It was a biscuit. We can use it as a biscuit. We can use it as a crumb.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to get him to make me another one. But
We'll make as many as you want. You get your mum to make the melo macaronos, make as many cheesecakes as you want. You know, it's it, melo macarono. Another word is finiki. Finiki.
Yeah, that's another variation.
But they're both the same, similar. And what is the interesting thing to say about that is that finiki comes from the word Phoenician. The Phoenicians, the ancient Phoenicians, which with the ancient Greeks were our biggest trading partner. We loved each other. We used to trade with each other. We just swap recipes, ideas. They gave us the alphabet.
The Phoenician alphabet.
They gave us the alphabet. Greek was written in another script called Linear A and Linear B.
Correct,
but that's on our other discussion on linguistics. We won't delve into that at this point in time.
I've touched a little bit on that in some
linear
past
A and linear B.
That's perfect, yeah.
And then the Phoenicians came up with this alphabet. We thought, that's great. So the Greeks thought, we'll use it. And they did, thankfully. But the difference is that the Greeks put vowels in there. The Phoenicians forgot about the vowels. It's true. But going back to the biscuit, the Phoenicians are called Phoenicians because we used to love trading these biscuits with them. The Phoenicia.
Yeah, we'd give them all our natural resources and they'd give us biscotta.
Why not? I think we came up with the recipe together, you know?
Or was it they came up with the biscuits and we came up with the putting the coconut on top?
I don't know what we came up with. All I know is that it's because of that era and what they used to do, they come up with that name. What they would have given us some really good, like kurmades, what do you call them? Dates. But imagine the dates they used to have, right? They used to come over and give us the dates, and we used to give them the olives, and it just kept on going.
Yes.
But yes, people would know the Phoenicians. It's modern day Lebanon. Modern day Lebanon. We share a lot of culinary and even
so alike.
More alike than any other group of people, I would say.
Yeah.
You would also know them, maybe the Carthage, the Punic Wars with Rome, Carthage. Well, these are sister cities they were all Phoenicians that were around the northern African part of the Mediterranean. They set up city-states just like Greeks did. Very similar. Very similar. They did city-states. In the Punic Wars, there were 3 of them with the elephants coming across and all of that history. It was beautiful.
So, with all this knowledge and love and passion for Greek history of everything, really, what made you lead into being a chef?
It's a very.
Now you're stumped.
No, I'm not stumped. It's just no. I was going to be.
Obviously, you have a very
I was
big.
going to be facetious, but that shouldn't have happened, shouldn't have it? That was a mistake. Let's get in the kitchen, he said. Let's get in the kitchen and cook and stay there for 16 hours. Right? And fry your brain and your body.
Oh, look, every time I come and set up my equipment here for
that
a
was
wedding,
a mistake, I can tell you.
You're sweating.
It's
half the time I don't know if it's lovey or actual perspiration.
It's perspiration. Right. I've got a spray bottle in the back. So when people come over, I spray my face and I make out that I'm working, I just have a heady day. I've been here since the morning. Anyway, the reason is I don't know. Life leads you in different paths, and I bought a business. I wanted to be a business person. My whole family were business people and still are. My cousins in Greece are business people, and then I bought a business, and I thought, well, I need to improve on this. And I can't be held to ransom either. Yeah, I knew how to cook. I had a basic knowledge of cooking, but then I thought, well, that's not enough. That's not going to cut the mustard. Excuse the pun. I needed to learn how to do it properly, commercially. I wasn't going to pretend to know how to cook and then damage the business. I'm not like that. So I did my apprenticeship started at the age of 38.
Yep.
I did my apprenticeship. I did close to 2.5 years, 2.5 years. It's a 4-year apprenticeship, but I did it in-house with a teacher, with lessons, with exams, which was not unlike, me, because I was at uni, so I was used to all that. But I was working at the same time. I got a few exemptions, as I said, because I could. And through practice and learning, I became a commercial chef. A commercial cook, as they say.
Yeah.
So Cert 3 in cookery, and I think I might be doing my Cert 4 anytime soon in the future. And only because I didn't want to be a pretender. I didn't want to just pretend I knew how to do things. I wanted to know. And my thirst for knowledge drives me. Every day I learn a new word.
Yep.
In Greek and in English. I try. Every day I want to learn something. I get excited when I learn something, and I am the eternal student. I'm always going to be the eternal student, and hopefully that sets me in good stead in my.
You're like a yearly Hall of Fame student in Flinders, huh? Every year, you're graduating in something.
No. I've had enough of that level. But I'm hoping that my attitude towards study and learning is infectious to people around me, and I'm hoping that leads us in good stead in our 70s and 80s. If I get there, if I'm lucky enough to get there, to keep the mind nice and healthy.
Well, what have you got, like 30, 40 years to get there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm only 38.
Yeah, that's right, 38.
38, 51.
38 for the last, how many?
51 this year. Don't tell anyone.
You don't look a day over 40.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm not swinging that way, I'm just saying.
Huh? Do you know this, the silver fox? You know this one?
Yeah, well,
I pay to get.
You're like the Greek Gregory Peck. Isn't he the silver fox?
I don't know. Gregory Peck. I like that one.
Oh, jeez.
Nothing like him. He was
no
tall and thin.
No, but other than the silver hair.
The silver hair, there's got to be something. I'm male. Then he was male as well. I guess.
There you go. There's two things.
We both had mothers.
Do you know? What's that joke? That me and you are related.
Yeah, we are.
My mother and your mother are both mothers.
Both mothers.
Yeah,
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
But then again, we are also Greek, which means somewhere along the track, millions of years ago, our family were connected in some way.
I wouldn't say millions. I'd say probably, Byzantium maybe. It'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, walking around with cloaks. I'd love that if it was, and if it's a Seinfeldian saying, but if it was socially acceptable, I would be walking around with a cloak, a velvet one.
I'd prefer a toga.
Oh no,
I'd go even further back.
no, it doesn't. Well, that's going really bad. Like
Yeah,
that's
like we're talking
almost,
ancient.
Now we're talking Neolithic, brother. Neolithic. We're talking Knossos. We're talking
Yeah.
Minoan here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minoan
Yeah.
jumping the bulls.
That's my favourite era of Greece. The Minoan civilization was just amazing.
was it the bull jumping? What
Oh,
was
just
it?
everything about. I mean,
Was
they
it-
were
was
the
it that they
first-
have-
No, that was the first ever civilization that had waterworks in their toilets.
Yeah,
they had plumbing.
They had plumbing. Are
sewage.
you serious?
Like, that's where the term the Golden Throne comes from, mate. Yeah, sit on that and take a dump.
Exactly. you would if the Minotaur happened to come in.
Oh,
imagine you having a sauna and the Minotaur rocks up, sits
Yeah, I
down
know,
next
just
to you,
sticks his head through the toilet
just
like
comes
Freddy
in,
Krueger or
exactly.
something.
and it says, "Thaddeus, are you going to take your time because I'm busting?"
Yeah, but it was just, the myths and the mythology of that era. You've got the Minotaur, and then you've got Icarus and his,
Daedalus.
escaping
Yeah.
the labyrinth and all that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And I touched up on that, and the whole podcast series episode was just on Crete and the amazing different mythologies that come out from that era.
That almost begs to be analysed and taken further.
Oh, just I
And
really
then the
wish we had a
Santorini.
time machine so we could go back to that era.
Imagine going there when the volcanic eruption of Thera.
Of Thera, yeah.
Modern day Santorini explosion and like destroys.
They
two-thirds
pretty
of
much
the
said
island.
that one explosion pretty much destroyed most of Greece at that time.
Well,
at that
that
time.
one, then the second one was I was in Athens last year. The explosion that happened in the toilet
After having a fasolada.
exactly.
Yeah.
Those two explosions were akin to each other.
Yeah. That was right before all the fires came down. So there was a very big earthquake due to the explosion.
You know the
with Nick.
earthquake last year? That was me. I wasn't even in Athens at the time.
Yeah, I know.
I was on the island of Lesbos,
That-
where my wife hails from.
Oh, Mytilene.
Yeah, there's a whole episode there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever heard the joke that says, what do you call what's the island of bankers in Greece?
What?
Efpos. Right? What's the island of cleaners in Greece?
What?
Domestos.
Right.
Right?
Right.
What's the island of lesbians in Greece?
What?
Mytilene.
Mytilene.
So-
Which is the capital of Lesbos.
Yeah, that's right.
But they tend to say the whole island is Mytilene because of the stigma attached to it. But not these days. No, these days it's different. Who
these
cares?
days everything's different.
It doesn't matter.
I think Greece is far more progressive these days than what us Greeks here in Australia are.
I would
We've really
absolutely.
stuck to tradition and to
Well,
culture
yeah,
and all
we're
that.
moving forward. Everyone's
Yeah.
moving forward.
We
Everyone's,
are, but not as fast as what they are over
yeah,
there.
no, they're always fast over there. Let me tell you.
But no, fantastic. So, give me your. I know we've gone into so many different topics here, but the one thing I really want to know, you as a chef, what's your 5 top Greek dishes?
Greek dishes, savoury.
Savory.
Savoury Greek dishes.
And then we'll go into dessert.
Well, I don't know. Then why would you do this to me?
Look, come on.
Why would you do this to me? All right.
Just top 5.
Top five.
If
Top
you
five.
could choose 5 right now.
Okay, choose 2. If I had 5 plates right now. Over,
5
on the
plates
table
right now.
I'm looking at them right now. Okay. One would be the dish of zakynthos, which is rabbit stew.
Stifado.
Not stifado, kokinisto.
Oh, yeah.
Right? A red-based, heavy, so much oil that you could baptize
Swim in it?
50 children with. 50 children. That's only in one plate. As the Greeks, in the Greek Orthodox Church, we use olive oil to baptize children. So for the people that don't know that. So that heavy.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
There's one. Secondly is probably a love dish from Lefkada, which is Yemi Star.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So now, is that Yemi
stuffed vegetables?
So is that
Oven
meat
cooked.
or non-meat?
I always prefer and always ask my mum every time to do the vegan version because it's vegan. And it's the best thing she makes and by far the best version of it that I've had in my life.
All mother's cookings is the best.
No, she can't cook a schnitzel.
Oh!
She can't. No, Mum, I love my mum, but I told her she hasn't got the patience. You have to have patience to cook stuff like that. She can't. She's not into that. But what she is good at, I will know. And her Yemi Star, her rice-stuffed, oven-baked, particularly capsicums, but vegetables are on not the next level. It's the next level above the next level.
On another planet.
On another planet, another galaxy.
Another galaxy.
For me.
Wow. Okay.
They make me very happy.
Okay.
Two, three. Mind you, the rabbit red base sauce stew could also be beef. It doesn't matter, but rabbit's what that traditionally used on that island. But beef's equally as good for me. I love that. Two, three. I would say an exceptionally very beautifully made gyros. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. With all of it.
Have you been to Bab's Barbecue?
Of course I have.
Oh,
Absolutely, I'm with you.
yeah.
It's delectable.
Yeah.
Well, there's three. Four. I'm trying to avoid certain dishes, but I can't. I can't avoid the pasticcio.
No,
I can't
don't avoid it.
I can't avoid it.
Everyone loves a
it's
good
like,
pasticcio.
You know, even people that never liked it end up liking it.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just all it is spaghetti. Is basically spaghetti bolognese with bechamel oven baked, but it's not just that.
It's a Greek
not
version of
just that.
pasta base,
It's
but
not just that. Yeah, there's a few tricks in there that you need to know to elevate it.
everyone makes it differently.
Exactly.
And depends
And a
on what
different
part of
flavour palette.
Greece you're from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 5. You're killing me here. You're killing me. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe a good. There's so many. I can't think of one. I've done well with 4, haven't I?
That's
All
fine.
right, one more. I'll just throw one in there.
Yeah, go
All right,
for
something
it.
different. Avgolemono soupa. How about that one? How about that one? Just so
Again,
everyone.
one of those dishes where it depends on what part of Greece you're from
Yep.
can change so much, but it's exactly the same.
A rice-based soup that is thickened with an egg and lemon sauce.
Yep.
Very, very Greek. Very Greek and Balkan, but very Greek. The egg and lemon sauce used to thicken the soup. Rice-based, usually chicken, but you know what? If you've got a turkey neck, throw that in there too.
Yeah.
I can come up with so many different tricks. If you've got a shin or ossobuco, throw that in there too. It doesn't matter. It'll just elevate the flavour. Don't throw too much. Start chicken base, and then maybe you want to throw in a turkey leg or turkey neck or a beef. Throw it in there, thicken it up. Crusty bread, toast. What you're done, aren't you? Really?
Wow. There you go.
We're hungry now.
There you go. Oh, we are. I haven't even had lunch yet.
No, you want no. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Out of that list, I have to say my number one dish definitely has to be exactly the same as yours. A perfect coquinisto
Oh, my God.
is just to die for.
That's it. Everything
Now,
else is...
my mum makes it with bizelia.
Oh, of course.
All right, okay, good.
You
We're
can-
on the same
whatever
page.
you like,
then.
absolutely.
Bizelia, patates.
Little patates, potatoes, and
Yeah.
peas.
Yeah.
You know, wonderful. Or not, it doesn't matter as long as it's a beautifully braised meat with a very oily red sauce, and basically no tomato, ladies and gentlemen, tomato paste, olive oil. You don't have to put tomatoes in if you don't want. If you do, a little bit of canned tomatoes, diced, concasse, as we say, is fine. Oh,
Wow, there you go.
I'm going to have to cook that tomorrow.
What time?
I'm telling you, I told you, there's 2 dishes. When I cook them, you're going to get a phone call.
All right, done. Okay, so I mean, you've told me your 5 top. This is my very last question. Again, food based.
Yes.
What is that one very special family dish that has been passed down generations? Again, it's one of those questions that's killing you, isn't it?
It's killing me. I would say the dish that has been passed down, not passed down from grandmother to mother to me, say, and also it's one of the 2 things. It's either the coquinisto from my dad's side, or the uvetzi from my mum's side.
Ah, uvetzi.
Yeah.
Nice.
What the cooking? Yeah, the slow braised, olive oil tomato based dish from my dad's side, and the orzo baked pasta with lamb or chicken from my mum's side. Those are the 2 dishes that have come to me through my grandparents.
Nice.
Through my grandparents, through my parents.
Oops. Beautiful. There you go.
Everyone
there
will
you
like
go.
one or the other. Smash into it. And when it's cold and you're hungry,
Oh, perfect comfort food, isn't
wow.
it? Perfect winter comfort food. Both of them.
Yeah,
Both
absolutely.
of them.
And it's
And
so-
you know what I love about a really nice cooking store?
What?
You go get yourself a really nice loaf of Italian crusty bread.
Yes.
And you just dip it in the
Yes.
salsa and the oil. Oh my
See,
God.
and this coquini store we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, you can have with, as Valadi said, with crusty, beautiful bread, or rice,
Yeah.
or pasta, or potato mash,
Yeah.
pomme puree.
Yeah.
Any one of those accompaniments, whichever one you feel like, that's the versatility of this dish.
It's crazy. It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. I
Wow.
can't believe that you like this. It's got to be the number 1 dish.
Oh, that my number 1 favorite. And
Yeah.
the other thing that I really love, which is very similar, not so much casserole based, but more oven, is bamias
Oh, yeah.
in the forno.
Yeah.
With cota, patates,
Yeah.
in a really deep red sauce.
So bamyes is not a dirty word, ladies and gentlemen. Bamyes is the Greek
Neither is
word-
fakes.
No, neither is fakes. Bamyes is okra. And fakes are lentils. So we're not contravening any law of the land
No,
here.
no.
It's
The-
bamyes in the oven. Think about that one. In your English side of your brain.
Bum, yes, in the oven.
Bamyes in the oven. With potatoes. And what else did you like?
In just a really deep red sauce.
Deep red sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
good. It's good. Nico, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your knowledge. We definitely have to do more.
We can definitely do more, and I thoroughly enjoyed, talking to you. I really do.
So you can now. I've seen you online the last few weeks doing cooking lessons with George at
I've been,
Kalimnos.
George Diakomichali from Kalimnos Pastries had kindly invited me to the It's All Greek to Me live cooking segments the last 3 weeks. And again, we had a lot of fun with Yorgo. Yorgo and I have been friends before we were born, really. Our families have been friends since back then.
If
since
you
the
guys
60s.
want to have a laugh, you have to jump online and search for It's All Greek to Me, the TV series, and look for the episode where Nick was in it. That is the most hilarious episode I have watched. Absolutely hilarious episode. I think you did more
damage than
more
good.
damage than cooking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And let it be known that I can actually cook.
that one episode is the reason why Channel 9 renewed for another season. Nah, brilliant.
I can actually cook, which is a great thing because then we can all eat.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone's got to do
Absolutely,
it.
exactly. If we don't eat, then we're just going to go crazy, aren't
That's
we?
right.
Yeah. No, again, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. With
It's
all
an
the,
absolute pleasure.
it's just the one thing that I found about all this crazy stuff happening around the world at the moment with COVID and supes mupes and closed and isolation is that we've got plenty of time to do stuff like this. This regularly is not a good time for you on a normal Saturday.
No. Although I could have done it any other day, but it's just very, very tiring and sapping, and we work weekends too, as well as during the day and night. So it is an unusual gig, I must say, but as you said, this has given us the opportunity to do this comfortably, and
we'll have to find another time in the near future to do another session on something completely different.
we can do whatever.
I'll just let you take over my podcast from here.
No.
Give us history lessons.
No, you drive the bus, my friend.
No,
we'll just get on there.
You said earlier. You said you drive the ship.
Okay,
I'll steer behind you.
Yeah, that's right. You steer the ship, and I'll
steer
start
the ship.
paddling.
That's right. Okay. We don't do buses. We do.
We do
blia.
ships. We do ships. Yeah. Exactly.
That was our main form of transport when trading back in the ancient times. So, again, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. And keep spreading that knowledge.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm hoping that anything that we've said could be.
I learnt stuff today.
Start Googling, guys. You just get in there and you tell us some stuff.
You know what though? Like now that you mentioned that point, Google doesn't always have the answers.
No.
It doesn't. Well, I've learned a lot from you today that I actually didn't know in the research I've done in the previous episodes.
But this is it. It's like back in the day, our Google was encyclopedias. But you've got to know where to look. You've got to have an idea of where to look. Someone's got to point you in the right direction. It's always the case. And that's why there will always going to be discussions. There's always going to be an exchange of information, knowledge. There were always going to be teachers, and there's always going to be students.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because someone needs to point me in the right direction in order to find what I'm looking for. And along the way, find a lot more that I never thought existed.
Yeah, absolutely. No, fantastic. Well, guys, that was Nick Mavrangelos, the co-director and head chef of Adelaide Pavilion, a function centre and venue in the Adelaide Parklands, and a very well-known person in the Adelaide Greek community. And from what you just heard, a very well-knowledge person on Greek history of everything, really.
Wow. What an interview. Guys, I learned so much out of that. And realistically, I went in with a set of questions. I don't actually think I asked one of those questions because I had this plan that we were going to talk to Nico about one thing, and then I just let it roll. I let it happen. Guys, that was amazing. We thank Nico so much for his time, for opening us up to us and allowing us to visit his center and record that studio. And I really do thank you very much for the double metrio Greek kafedaki and the jam and cream sponge cake that you offered me. Amazing. Even if it was one of those shopping center brands, it was bloody amazing. Guys, that was it for an episode. It was a much longer episode than what we usually have. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I definitely did because I gained so much out of that. Next week, we've got a local Greek artist, Panagiotis Moudouris, who's going to be coming on to the show. And he's going to be talking to things, all things Greek music, really. And his knowledge on the old school rebetika and the ladadica and the laika and all that type of style of music. But until then, again, leave me your feedback, admin@gefi.live. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, avryo to vradi, or every Monday night. Now, that's I won't say tomorrow night because obviously it depends on what day of the week you are listening to this show. But every Monday night, Adelaide time, 8 p.m., which is about 1:30 in Greece, about 1 o'clock, 1:30 elsewhere in Europe. Όπου και να είστε στην Ευρώπη. Zodana, 8 o'clock every Monday night. Geffy Live Radio with myself and Snoop Sports. We're going to get into it. Greek loved music. You can find us at doriforos.com.au. Download the Doriforos app or listen to our live stream, facebook.com/Geffy Live Radio or /DJ Valandi. This is Valandi and I will keep your Geffy streaming.
Πάντα. Είσαι έτοιμος?
Here we go.
Πάντα.
But Yorgos Mazonakis.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.